All right, let's jump right in. Today we're going to explore a really mind-bending idea from our source material, the theory that the fundamental numbers holding our reality together aren't random at all. Instead, they might just be part of a hidden code.
So, think about the fundamental constants of physics. Like the speed of light. They're these incredibly specific, kind of weird-looking numbers that literally run the whole show, from the tiniest particles to the biggest galaxies. But here's the big question. What if these aren't just random values that happen to be? What if there's something more to them? A deeper meaning? Maybe. A simple, beautiful pattern that's been hiding in plain sight this entire time.
Well, the sources we're looking at today suggest there is a key to unlocking this whole thing. And you might be surprised to find out it's a really simple mathematical tool.
It's called the digital root. And the concept is pretty straightforward. It's a way to take any number, I don't care how big or complicated it is, and boil it all the way down to a single fundamental digit. The theory calls this its core energetic signature.
So how's it work? Honestly, it's super easy. You just take the digits of a number and add them up. If you get a number with more than one digit, you just do it again until you're left with a single digit, from 1 to 9. Now what's interesting is that the sources say that in this system, some numbers like 11, 22, and 33 are sometimes kept as they are. They're called master numbers, and they're believed to hold a special kind of resonance.
Okay, so this brings us to the really cool part, the core of this whole theory. What happens when we take this digital root method and apply it to those fundamental constants of physics? Well, this is supposedly where the hidden patterns start to pop out.
And here's what that looks like. The theory takes these fundamental constants, these really complex values, and just runs that digital root calculation. It completely transforms them into these simple, single digits.
And just like that, what seemed like a totally random mess of numbers suddenly starts to look like it has some kind of underlying order. Each constant gets simplified down to what the theory calls a fundamental archetype, revealing this hidden layer of simplicity that's been buried under all that complexity.
But it doesn't just stop at making things simpler. The theory says this process actually organizes the numbers. It proposes that these single digits fit into a much larger system, one that reveals a fundamental split, or duality, separating them into two very distinct groups. So here's the breakdown. On one side, you have what the theory calls a vortex group. These are the numbers 3, 6, and 9. Think of them as the organizing principle, the background control system. And then on the other side, you have the manifestation group, which is all the other digits. These act like the gates that physical reality actually comes through.
And if this is ringing a bell, it should. This whole idea plugs directly into that famous quote that's often attributed to the great Nikola Tesla. You know, the one where he said if you understood the magnificence of 3, 6, and 9, you would hold a key to the universe. He was apparently obsessed with them for a very good reason. According to this material, 3, 6, and 9 are the big deal. They aren't just numbers in a line, they form this special triad that actually governs things like resonance, harmony, and coherence in the universe. You could almost think of it as the invisible operating system running in the background, while all the other numbers are the programs and the outputs we actually get to see and interact with in our physical world.
So, of course, this leads us to the biggest claim of them all. The idea presented in these source documents is that this numerical pattern isn't just some interesting little coincidence, it could be the blueprint for, well, for literally everything.
Now, for an idea to become science, it has to make predictions you can actually test, right? And this framework does. It suggests that if we look at the ratios between physical constants that have the same digital root, we should find simple harmonic relationships. It predicts that these 369 patterns should show up everywhere, from cosmology to chaos theory, meaning this code should be active at every single level of reality. Ultimately, what defines this theory is just how ambitious it is. The goal here is to use this simple numerical code as a kind of bridge, something that can link the tangible physical world of constants with the much deeper, much more mysterious nature of consciousness and reality itself.
And that really leaves us with a huge question to think about. Are we looking at a genuine, hidden blueprint for the entire universe, something that's literally encoded into the fabric of space and time? Or is this a fascinating, but ultimately human projection, a map of our own mind's incredible knack for finding patterns in the noise?
The theory really leaves us with this one powerful image, a simple, repeating, harmonic pattern that it claims is the foundation for all of existence, just waiting for us to finally understand it. Thank you for joining us on this exploration.